Ba-da-da-da, da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. You're supposed to do it with me. That's why I did 1, 2, 3.
You didn't give me these instructions.
I know. I just thought you'd start doing it.
No, I just want to watch you.
Well, if you're listening to this, which is probably just me in the future editing it. No, I've gotten some views lately.
That was a very depressing way to start.
I didn't tell you this. So, for those of you who don't know, in between acting jobs, I go work a quote-unquote real job. I've worked several jobs throughout my life.
So have I.
Well, this podcast
about
doesn't
you.
have your name
I
on
know.
it. So, actually, once upon a time in Huntsville. I guess it doesn't have Sampley in there either. Well, it says with Sampley Baranaga, or hosted by. I don't even know what it says. But no, I've done retail, bagging groceries, washing windows, and then right now I'm working at this car dealership. I'm being dead serious when I say this. I was emailing this lady. Shout out to Nancy.
Does Nancy work there, or is she just a random person?
Why would I be emailing someone that works there? Okay, anyway.
Oh, I forgot the email
she
part.
was
Okay.
emailing me about a specific car that we had.
Okay.
And so she goes, well, can you give me an appraisal, a sight unseen appraisal on my CRZ? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then she goes, and she emails back, and also, by the way, are you the Once Upon a Time in Huntsville guy? And I go,
what?
Oh, wow. Isn't that so cool? Some lady named Nancy who lives in Huntsville. Like, I don't know who it is. You know what I mean? I don't know who she is.
When was this?
This was this morning.
Today?
Yeah.
You haven't told me this all day?
No, I haven't.
Were you waiting to tell me on this podcast?
No, I honestly did not remember till now, honestly. It kind of left my brain. And it was weird because she asked that. I wrote back, yes. And then she was just like, well, let me know the number on my trade-in. And I was like,
oh, she didn't
No, she didn't
follow up.
Maybe she was like, I'm curious, but not a fan.
Do we know anybody named Nancy?
I don't. You know who we should get to figure this out?
Who?
Nancy Drew. See what I did there? Anyways.
Yikes.
This podcast episode is supposed to be about Indiana Jones, and I think we're 3 minutes in. We haven't. That's the first time I mentioned the name. Well, if you recognized my beautiful rendition of the theme song by John Williams, then you would know that we're going to talk about Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Good input, babe. Oh yeah, and if you're now just joining the show, this is my wonderful wife, Erin. Say hello.
Hello.
But if you're
my voice just changed so much.
But if you've been listening, then you know her. A lot of people like having her on, from what I hear from friends and family.
They're lying.
Actually, so on every podcast, another sidetrack. I thought this was funny. I re-uploaded the one I did with Hunter Duhan.
Is that how you pronounce his last name?
I don't know.
Okay. I thought you would know, but
Duhan, I don't know. Does he know? Who knows?
Because I've seen like Lindsay Lohan. People call her Lindsay Lohan, but it's actually Lindsay Lohan.
Who's this?
What do you? Okay, stop. But that would be kind of weird because there's two
O's. Like that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've always just wondered.
It's also like Killian Murphy.
Yeah.
People think it's Cillian because it's a C.
Yeah.
I thought it was a C until I heard someone say his name and didn't correct him. So I assume Killian is the way you pronounce it. Anyways, so every episode I do, I think every episode, like Anchor, since that's who I use for the podcast, automatically like has a Q&A for fans who listen to the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the question was like, oh, like, what are your thoughts on this episode? I'd love to hear it. Like, I don't ask that. Like, it just automatically, I guess to get people to comment and share or whatever. And the only one I've gotten so far was on Hunter Duhan's, and it said this was very interesting but too long.
Yikes.
I was just like, well, one, you didn't have to listen to all of it.
How long was it?
It was an hour, but like
that's not like that's a normal time for a podcast.
But also, like, you don't have to listen to it. You know what I mean? It's interesting, but too long.
Do you think he just stopped listening because he was like, "Oh, it's an hour"?
I don't know.
I was not expecting a podcast to be an hour.
No one else is taking time to do that, and I assume he's a fan of hunters. So, if anything, you think he would want more? Maybe I need to work on that.
Like I always like if it's somebody I like, I'm like, "Oh, more and more. Like make it longer," you know.
Yeah.
What? You want me to rephrase that?
No. Let's just push ahead.
Wait, what? No, tell me.
So, Indiana Jones. We decided that we were gonna watch them because the new one's coming out this summer, The Dial of Destiny. Ooh.
Is that the name?
Yeah, something to do.
Wait, is the trailer out?
Or The Fate of the Dial. No, yeah, the trailer's out. I've told you to watch it like 8 times.
Oh, okay. I forget.
Yeah, sure. No, it's called The Dial of Destiny, and it's about, I think, his goddaughter. Him and his goddaughter. He looks very old in it. I feel like it's going to be a sad watch. You're just like, there's Harrison Ford trying to do
die?
Oh, I hope you mean the character. I
thought you meant Harrison
Ford. I was like, that's a possibility, but I think they've wrapped shooting. Because, he did, like, break something, and they had to halt it for a while.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's an old man. He's doing his own stunts.
Isn't he, like, in his 80s?
Something he's getting up there, but yeah, that one comes out this summer. Funny enough, not directed by Steven Spielberg. Instead, it's directed by James Mangold, who I'm a big fan of. He did Logan. He did Ford versus Ferrari. He did Walk the Line. He's done some other stuff too.
He's 80. Okay.
He's 80 on the dot.
He's 80 on the dot.
Look at you.
He'll be 81 this year.
Isn't that crazy?
Harrison Ford
will be 80. Wow.
That's nuts.
That really is. But you and I decided, and also we're going to Disney here soon. We'll probably do the stunt show again, which is really cool. I'm waiting for the day where something actually does go wrong.
Why?
I don't know. That's just me. I'm just like...
That's terrible. I would not want to be there to see that.
Show, so no one will know until it's like 10 minutes in. They're like, he's not getting up. I don't want him to get really hurt. But anyways, getting sidetracked again. We watched the original 3, the trilogy, and then last night we started the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So we won't really talk about that one much unless you want to. It's up to you. It's your podcast.
I don't know. I mean, are we going to do another podcast just on the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Probably not.
Okay.
You want to.
No, I'm good. I don't think I can talk about that for 45 minutes. So, I mean, we can add in anything we watched.
We can do like a 10-minute one.
We only have like 40 minutes left in the movie, I think.
Yeah, and not to skip ahead, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say it is.
Yeah.
It just seems like a fun popcorn movie. Because I was even like reading reviews today. It's very split. Like either people love it or they hate it. The people that hate it are like, they ruined, the specialness of Indiana Jones. None of it's realistic. None of it has, the same style. And I'm just like, realistic? Have they seen the other 3 movies? Yeah,
why are they taking these seriously? They're Indiana Jones.
It's probably, I don't know. I feel like a property like this is like, people get very angry. It's kind of like Star Wars or like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Harry Potter. It's like one of those properties where people like feel strongly about it one way or the other. But
it's Disney and it's going to be very fictional. So
yeah, and it's a movie. And anyways, the last one aside, let's talk about the first 3. I thought it'd be interesting to rank them. So let's rank them.
Oh.
And then talk about them in order.
Okay.
So what's your ranking?
Do I start with the best, my favorite or least favorite?
Yeah, what's the number 1?
I haven't really thought about this.
That surprises me.
Yeah, I know. I should have thought. I haven't been on a podcast in so long. I forgot you always do rankings.
I just like to. I mean, it's just for fun. It's not meant to be taken serious. My number 1 is Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm surprised that's not your number 1 just out the gate. I feel like that's like everyone's.
Wait, I'm just trying to remember what happens in the third one. What's the third one called?
The Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade.
The one with his daddy.
And then what's the second one?
Temple of Doom.
You've
seen these movies more than I have.
I doubt it.
That was my. I've only seen Raiders of the Lost Ark like 4 times, and then that was the first time seeing Temple of Doom and Last Crusade.
That was your first time seeing The Last Crusade?
Oh, and the Temple of Doom.
I knew it was your first time seeing Temple of Doom, but
I'd never seen them all the way through. I'd only seen like 10 minutes of each, like when it was just on TV, like passing. Like,
yeah, I mean,
channels.
I probably have only seen Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade once, and I was probably like 12 or 13 the last time I saw them. Max. But I know I've probably seen Raiders of the Lost Ark like the same amount of times. But yeah, no, that's my favorite. And then my second favorite would be The Last Crusade, and then my last favorite would be Temple of Doom.
Yeah, I feel like mine's like, it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark is like on a mountain, and then like for like Temple and Doom and Last Crusade, it's kind of like a toss up. I don't know. I feel like both have like issues with it, but they're both fun. Like I feel like Raiders of the Lost Ark is like, wow, that is like the perfect adventure action movie, and then these other two are like, okay. There's great things about it, and then there's just like really, really just kind of strange, weird choices. Mm-hmm. Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think, is like one of the most iconic films of all time.
Yeah.
Like the opening is just like great.
Mm-hmm.
Like how it just like kind of lingers, waiting to like show Indiana Jones for the first time, like on camera. And the classic running away from the boulder. Mm-hmm. I feel like that like opening is like a perfect visual way of showing how smart our character is without saying, "Oh, he's so smart." You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just like you just show he knows what he's doing, and even if when he doesn't know what he's doing, he's good at escaping from conflict.
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford, I think, just first off, I think if anyone were to ask me like whose career would I want, I would want his, because when I say, I bet if I asked you, Harrison Ford, what do you initially think of? You might think of Star Wars. If I ask somebody at work, they might think of Indiana Jones. If I ask some random person on the street, they may say Blade Runner. I might ask someone else, they may say Air Force One. Like. He's such an iconic actor.
Yeah.
And he's like absolutely the perfect choice for this role. And for a long time they were supposed to replace him. And then they're doing this one and he's still going. It's just
still kicking.
That's Harrison Ford for you. I mean, he's one of a kind, he really is. They say about there's no such thing as movie stars anymore, but I mean, I think he'd have to be up there.
Yeah, for sure, to have all those iconic roles.
Yeah, I feel like his name still draws in a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But Raiders
like old and young.
No, yeah.
Like he has such a wide audience.
Yeah. And Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think what it does really well is it has really great pacing. It's able, and this is kind of what the other two have problems with. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark is like action, show. Maybe a quiet scene, but you're learning about the character, then action, then like some exposition, but it's interesting because you're really excited to see what the movie's going to be about. More action, and then introduce a character, and then action, and introduce another character, and then action.
Yeah.
And then you're misled by this action scene, and then this ends up being that. It has like a really good balance of, telling the story, and then also telling the story. Not just having action for action's sake, but using an action scene to tell a story, which is a really hard thing, which I think is what a lot of action movies today struggle to do. And also, it's a movie where each action scene is like constantly raising the stakes. Mm-hmm. And that's like a really hard thing. And within itself, the action scene does, and then like throughout the movie it like progresses, like running away from a boulder, you think that's like terrifying, and then by the end of the movie he's fighting a huge guy with a plane that's spinning while on fire, with Marion, his love interest stuck in the thing, and then also a guy shooting at him. I mean, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and everyone else that worked, contributed to the writing and the directing of the film, everyone behind the scenes, like they just they were making. I wonder if it'd be interesting to talk to them about if they knew that they were making something special. I'm sure they did know. Knowing Spielberg, he probably has a feeling about when he's working on something that where he can feel just something's like, knocking it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so many iconic things like this, his fear of snakes, when they're stuck down there, like in the little like underground thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you think Marion's dead, the boulder, obviously, even something like
he never forgets his hat. Like his hat always like somehow catches up with him.
Yeah, and even something as small as like the girl, like when she closes her eyes, it says "I love you."
Oh, in his class.
Yeah, this is something that makes me laugh every time. And I feel like it's really close to being a perfect movie. If it isn't, it may be. I'm sure it is to a lot of people. I really don't have any major problems with it. And I also like how the main creepy guy, the one with the glasses, the ones that's face gets melted off in the end, which is insane. I can't believe I saw that as a child and I wasn't scarred for life by it.
Yeah, all this stuff. Like the Temple of Doom, too. I'm like, that one is like the worst for me. Like that's kind of disgusting with like the sacrificing and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Not to skip ahead, but no, like, I'm like, how did I not freak out? And watching Kingdom of the Crystal Skull too. How old was I? Because you said that one came out in
2008.
2008 or 9?
2008.
Oh, so I was 10.
Yeah, we were both 10.
And I went to the theaters and saw that one.
I was 3 months older.
Yes.
Still am, actually.
Yeah,
I did too. Yeah.
I was 10, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just more of a baby now.
Yeah, I don't know. If anything, it's just, I don't know. I remember my dad, I think we had Raiders of the Lost Ark on VHS, and he was like, now, this is rated PG. I remember him explaining this to me. Now, this is rated PG, but in today's standards, it would not be. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, back then they didn't have all the MPAA ratings, like figured out it was just G and PG and then like X-rated.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't like a PG-13 or an R yet.
Yeah.
As far as that, and that could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's right. My dad wouldn't lie to me. No, but he was right. I mean, there might have been an R, but it was. I think it might have been actually G, PG, and then R. There was not like a PG-13. So, which it would probably be a PG-13. Maybe even I don't know. It's so graphic. I feel like that would be probably R-rated today. Like seeing a face melt, like imagine it being like more realistic, because like you can tell it's like fake because the special effects of age, like any old movie has. But imagine if they did that today. Man, that's scarring. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how they rule. That's a lot of gore. But yeah, I feel like the first movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark, just kind of knocks everything out of the park. I don't know. You just really want to be him and go on an adventure like that.
Yeah.
And you want to wear his outfit.
Yeah.
His iconic jacket and his hat and his whip.
Mm-hmm. Very iconic. I really liked Marion. I think I've told you a million times, but
yeah.
When we went to Disney, I guess it was when did we go? It would have been when we went in 2006. We went on a family trip to Disney. So I would have been 8. So I was already watching that when I was 8.
Wow.
And we went to the Lego store, and it used to be downtown Disney. Now it's Disney Springs. And you could like build your own Lego person, and I made mine to be Marion.
That's funny.
I was obsessed. Any like female heroine, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like
you really admired like Princess Leia.
I dressed up as Princess Leia.
Yeah, I've seen those pictures. Those are funny. Your little robe, your little white robe.
And the hair all in circles.
Yeah, I did too growing up.
Space buns.
But I had the bikini outfit.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I was never really into Star Wars. I think I mentioned that in the podcast before. I've gotten flack for that.
You've gotten what?
Flack.
Oh. I thought you said flagged, and I was like, what does that
Flagged.
even mean? You were
FBI
flagged?
watch list for not liking Star Wars. Anyways, so going back to Raiders of the Lost Ark, like I'm trying to be critical of it. It's just really great. I mean, they were it's maybe even way ahead of its time. It probably started an entire genre of movies like that could be made. I'm sure there were a lot of copycats after that. It was nominated for Best Picture, so it wasn't just an audience success. It was a critical success.
Yeah.
And then you have Indiana Jones 2 and the Temple of Doom, which I enjoyed, but it has pacing issues, as in the entire time it is action.
Yeah.
And if you're on a roller coaster for an hour, it's going to get pretty boring like 10 minutes in. So it doesn't, and it has slower scenes, but it doesn't do a very good job of balancing it out like Raiders of the Lost Ark does. But I would say, and I don't know what your favorite part of Temple of Doom is, but mine is Short Round.
Yes.
Because he is awesome.
Yeah. No, I liked him. I feel like that was the other thing. I mean, I think they did the best job of developing his character. But what was the girl's name?
I don't
even remember. The blonde lady. Like, they did not do a good job of, like, developing her character into, like, his new love interest, Indiana Jones's. Because, like, 1 second they're just on the adventure, and the next second, like, they're making out, and you just didn't see it coming. And
yeah, that was
like,
weird.
Then, like, people are... I don't know. It was a little wild. And kind of off-putting. Like, it just takes you out of the moment, and it just was not, I don't know.
Yeah, and
it was not good writing.
No, it felt very strange. And I really do like the concept of, like, Indiana Jones being this, instead of, like, a trilogy like Star Wars where it's like the stories continue to follow through each movie. It's like, no, this is his new adventure. Yeah. We don't have to explain where the other characters are. Yeah. This is him doing his own thing. I really like that a lot. But it just also puts you in a spot where you, as a sequel, you not only have to stand on your own, but like in some ways you kind of do have to be just as good as the first, if not better. And I feel like Marion compared to whatever her name is in this. Yeah, you definitely, because Marion was kind of like, I can stand up for myself a little bit. This one is kind of just screaming the entire movie, which kind of gets old.
And he acts
fast.
Like he's not attracted to her, so that's why it's like, okay, then all of a sudden,
and then all
they're
of a
like
sudden,
making out in her room, and it's like,
and
what is going on?
Really important things going on right now.
Yeah, like people were ransacking his room, and like.
Yeah, but
Short Round is right next door.
Did you know the actor? Have you seen this? He won the Golden Globe, and then he just got nominated for an Oscar.
Who, Short Rounds?
Yeah, really? Short Rounds character. I forget his name. But he hadn't acted in such a long time. Wow. His story is really interesting. And he did that, The Goonies, and then like he didn't book anything for such a long time.
Interesting.
I think he started working behind the camera and then got like a real, quote unquote, real job. And then these two directors who did this movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once, that got nominated for like 11 Oscars this year, and he was nominated. He has a really cool story, just like how he just never gave up. I just thought it was really cool. And he's really cool. Honestly, he really is like a great child actor. He's really funny. Yeah, he gets really like natural. To shine. Harrison Ford is really good as always. There really wasn't like a main villain per se in this. Yeah, it was like everybody else in the movie was the villain, and then there's like the three that are not. Yeah, I guess it was kind of just like it gets to that point. So I really like the sequence when they're like kind of going underneath the I guess like the mansion, wherever they are, the royal castle thing that they're at. That was really cool. And then like as soon as they see the sacrifice thing, I feel like that's when it kind of loses its focus. And I didn't really like Indiana Jones being like hypnotized, and then it's kind of cliche because they're not going to kill her. Yeah. And like you're sitting there, you're like, I know what they're not going to do. Yeah. And so you're kind of just like, okay, when is this scene going to be done? The final thing on the bridge was really cool. I liked. Very well shot. It kind of lasted a lot longer than it should have.
Yeah.
I feel like all the action scenes just last like forever.
Yeah.
I could like, man, this is like that minecart scene was like, oh, man, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going.
It just didn't stop.
Like,
man, this is a long track.
I'm surprised Disney hasn't tried to like do something like an Indiana Jones ride. I think like they have so many things they could do. But I know they have the stunt show, but a ride would be really cool after watching like the minecart thing.
No, honestly, like the Seven Dwarves mine train, like that could have been Indiana Jones instead, because in Snow White, like I know that like they have the mining or whatever, but they don't actually go on a minecart like roller coaster base. Like they literally did it in Indiana Jones. Like that was a literal roller coaster.
Yeah, Did they own that? When did they buy the property? When they bought LucasArts? I can't remember when that was. So I guess that would take too long. It still makes me mad that there's not a cooler Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Not that one's not cool, but it's just like, really? Like, you have two amazing movies. Like, why is there not a Kraken ride? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, like, kind of going on a rabbit trail, but, like, the list of movies or, like, rides that I feel like we've come up with that could have, like, in my opinion, been better than the ones that they have built now.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, my dad was kind of bringing up a point last night when he was like, really? Like, it's about Guardians of the Galaxy. Because, I mean, I liked Guardians of the Galaxy, but I just feel like there could have been so many more, like, rides or movies that they could have come up with, and Guardians of the Galaxy does seem kind of random. But I guess they do need to appeal to the Marvel.
Yeah, I mean,
audience.
I really like both of those movies, and they both are really popular. They both made a lot of money.
Yeah.
I know that Groot character is really popular because I saw him on like everyone's shoulders while we were walking by. I'm fine with it being Guardians of the Galaxy, but it is weird that it wouldn't be like an Avengers thing. I don't know. Yeah, Disney. I feel like they have so much money, it wouldn't take time to do those things, but I guess the right way. I guess it would also last for a long time, the ride, and you have to have the land. I don't know how all that stuff works.
And even like the Princess and the Frog, like doing that as the re-theme for Splash Mountain, it's like, that movie really wasn't that popular. Like I've seen it once. You haven't even seen it.
I've never seen it, no.
And I mean, it was cute. Like I liked it, but not as much as I've liked a lot of other Disney films.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. I understand why they're doing that because it kind of has like the same vibes. Like it's a waterfall and there's a lot of water in that movie. I think it'll be cool to see like a New Orleans because that movie's set in New Orleans, right? Yeah. I like New Orleans, so it would be cool to see something like that. I'll have to watch the movie. I'm sure it's fine, but a lot of people just don't talk about it.
But Pocahontas goes off a waterfall. I love Pocahontas. Or
Tarzan.
Tarzan.
Sick. Oh,
I mean, those are like literal.
I don't think. Well, they don't own the property.
That's true.
I think Sony now owns Tarzan. I don't know who owns Pocahontas.
Yeah.
That's terrible. She'd probably hate that. She's like an IP. She might not even know what that was. I don't know. Anyways, going back to Indiana Jones. So like the second one just kind of feels rushed in a lot of areas, but there's a lot of good things. I really like the opening sequence. Is really great. Short round's great. I would say even like the plane crash. There's great things about the movie. It's hard. It definitely lives in the shadow of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Mm-hmm.
I think The Last Crusade is probably a better movie than Temple of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they kind of missed out. And this is just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'd have to watch it again. I feel like they kind of missed out on connecting Indiana Jones and I guess his dad is named Jones too.
Mm-hmm. Henry Jones.
Henry Jones. I feel like they kind of missed an opportunity there because it feels like, and of course he's going out to save his dad. And of course he has issues with his dad, and then it's just like they meet, they argue, and then it's like, oh, he's dying. And you save him. It's supposed to be this like powerful moment that really doesn't pay off. In my opinion,
yeah.
I feel like there's not enough weight. And it's also really weird that they both both the father and son have sex with the same Nazi girl. And then I'm glad she died. When she died, I was like, I'm glad she died. She was a Nazi.
Yeah.
Who they tried to make us sympathize with. That was kind of weird. I was like, I know she wasn't a Nazi, but when you side with the Nazis, you're kind of a Nazi in my book.
Yeah. No, that makes you a Nazi.
Trusted. And they I don't know. I feel like it kind of also has the same problem. It has pacing issues, and it's trying to do all these twists and turns that really don't work as well as they do in the first one. But I really like the start of it where they're in the church trying to figure out how to get underground. That sequence is really cool. I'm trying to remember it all. It's kind of all blends together. I thought it was cool when he finally rescued, when they're stuck and it's the fires. I feel like all three movies are very good at creating these tense situations for the most part, where you're like, oh, how, because you put yourself in the character's shoes. How would I escape this? Mm-hmm. And it's always cool when an action scene ends with a logical answer versus luck. And I feel like The Last Crusade, the ways they get out of a situation is more luck versus the smarts of the character. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. Or just pure accident, where you're just like, oh, well, I don't know. If it cheapens the action scene compared to the first one, where he's constantly overcoming obstacles by using his brain, his physicality, and then I feel like in The Last Crusade, it's just kind of he gets lucky a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I was picturing the part where he's stuck hanging off the side of. I
was literally about to say.
You're about to talk about.
This is perfect. Yeah. Continue. Yeah. The tank?
The tank. I was like, what is that thing? The tank, and he's about to hit that rock, and you're like, obviously, like you said, he's not going to die. But you're just like, oh, he's getting closer and closer and closer. Like, how is he going to escape this? And then it just so happened that inside, they shoot the guy that's driving it, and he falls onto the button or whatever that turns it. At literally the last second. Yeah, I was like, oh, that could have, he could have died in that moment. His reaction made me
laugh too. He's just like, oh. And then he just continues to
yeah, I was like,
and overcomes him. Also, it wasn't going that fast. You can tell it's not going that fast, so that kind of ruins the action sequence too. It's not going very fast. I literally said, why don't you just let go? You might have some road burn, but you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I when you're watching an action sequence like that, you're rooting for your hero to overcome it, because it's like a subconscious thing. And maybe I'm getting too deep into it, but it's a subconscious thing. We see ourselves in heroes presented in film and television. Mm-hmm. So when they do something in a smart way, you think to yourself, oh, well, that's how I would do it. Or that's how I'm going to do it if I'm ever presented with this situation. It's just using your imagination, whether you're a child or an adult. You say, oh, I bet I could have done that if I was in the same situation. But when it's in luck, you're just kind of like, oh, this is kind of boring. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You want to see the best in the protagonists in an action film.
Yeah.
You don't want them just to be, you want them to be good people and make good decisions, and you want to be like them, whether it's a subconscious thing or a conscious thing.
True.
Maybe I'm getting too deep into.
I don't really think that hard into it, but
I don't know. I like to, just because I'm very interested in that stuff, and I consider myself a writer and a filmmaker, and I'm sure Spielberg. Golly, I'm sure Spielberg's thought of, and it's just one of those things where, it's, how can I think it's kind of absurd for me to even, it is, but it isn't, because, I don't know, it's so weird. I don't even know if people understand what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I battle with the idea, well, how can a critic watch a movie and criticize a movie when they've never made one in their life? It's one of the, in my opinion, making a movie is so hard. I'll say that again. Oh, making a bad movie is hard. Making a good movie is insanely hard, because so many pieces have to come together. But then again, it's art, and art is subjective. So I don't know if, because people like to get upset about these things, and and say, oh well, you're stupid for having that opinion about Indiana Jones. You should like it, and it's great. But you could never make something as good. I probably won't. At least, I strive to. It's very hard to. But so whenever I criticize something, I'm not doing it in a hateful way. I just don't like it when people do that. When people have this air of superiority. So when we're talking about this,
like when they think that their movies are perfect.
No, not even that. I just don't like it when people who have no idea what it takes to be in the movie industry hate on a movie.
Oh,
and it's just why are you hating on somebody's art? You can criticize it, but you don't need to hate it. So I'm not hating on it. He's one of the greatest directors of all time. Every single person, Harrison Ford, all this stuff. It's just. I feel like, but also at the same time, it's important to criticize art because, as an audience member, when you pay $12 to go to watch a movie, it should be good.
Yeah.
And I've been on film sets where I've been in movies that are, I'm not going to say which ones, but are terrible, and that's because, and I've been in ones that are really good.
Yeah.
I would say. And there's a difference between both of those on set, even.
Yeah.
There's a thing of, hey, I want to go home. Let's get this shot done. And then there's, we're going to stay until we get this right. And you can probably guess which one is going to be the better movie.
Yeah.
It's the one where they want to get it right. So that's my 2 cents. But any more thoughts on the Temple of Doom? Wait, are they immortal now?
That's what I was asking. Because I was like, they drank from the Grail. I don't know.
Never mention it.
Wait, didn't...
After, I mean...
Wait, did Elsa, the lady, drink from it too?
No, she was trying to, right?
Because I was just about to say, if so, then how did she die?
No, she drank some. There wasn't any left. And then she tried to scoop it up, and then she dropped it, right?
Legit,
and she died. When she died, I was like, I was rooting for her to die, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I was like, let her go.
I think everybody was.
You can't trust.
Because the movie starts off like you're wondering if this is going to be just another love interest, based on the first 2 movies. So I mean, I liked how they did that, where they.
No, me too.
Kind of were like, I felt that that was needed. But I mean, I think you're supposed to hate her because. She's just like a terrible person.
I was just scared for a second the movie was going to try to redeem her. I'm glad it didn't, though.
Yeah, no, people like that need to just go down. But yeah, I was going to say something else, but it has to do with the next movie, so.
The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? What were you going to say? We can move
on
to that one.
I was going to say how I honestly probably I've seen it more recently, I think, than either of the second or third movies, for sure. But I kind of like it so far better than the second and third movies.
I was going to say the same exact thing. So far, because we got 40 minutes left.
Yeah.
I honestly, it has better pacing. It does have, the scene that we just ended on was kind of random. And it has some exposition lines.
Yeah.
To start the movie, because they're like, remember the time, and it's whatchamacallit, 15 years ago. Yeah, those were tough times. This is just like it, and you're like, okay, so which is fine. That's better than. It's better than it's the start, you know what I'm saying? The 2 Indiana Jones and his friend who turns on him, who you don't even really care about because you didn't know they were friends, except for that line where he's like, "Remember, this is just like the time in San Jose.
Yeah,
remember how we got out of that one, Jonesy?" And you're just like, okay, so these guys know each other, and he's like, "Hi, I'm betraying you," and you're like,
"Yeah,
I don't care. I don't know who this character is. It means nothing to me."
Yeah,
but besides that really bad expositional line. Which was almost as bad as Vince Gilligan said on the Better Call Saul podcast, that it would have been hilarious if they had started Better Call Saul with the line with Chuck and Jimmy being like, "So Chuck, how long have we been brothers?" Just because that's a stupid expositional line. Anyways, I've really enjoyed the movie. Besides some cheesy lines here and there.
And I like...
It's a fun popcorn movie. I don't know why people hate on it so much. Maybe it gets really bad in these last 40 minutes we have.
Yeah.
I would be surprised though, because I remember liking.
No, I liked it, and I like how, you know, because it's obvious that Marion was like the favorite love interest.
Yeah.
You knew there was like something special about her, that she does come back, and you see how their story kind of progressed and then wrapped up. And I like that, because you didn't, you know, all of a sudden like they were in love and they, you know, finished the first movie and then you don't see or hear, you know, from her again. So I do like that.
Yeah.
I like how, the only thing I don't like is, I think I told you, like, how she was supposedly like 15 or 16.
Oh yeah, that was right. You did the math.
When they met, because, and I looked it up too, and like everyone, I apparently, what's her name? The lady that plays Marion. It's like Karen something.
Yeah.
The actress that plays Marion, like, had to come, like, and say, like, you know, like, basically stand up for her character, because she was like, I never viewed it as creepy. Like, I didn't think that it was like intending to be. Was like, he was 20. He was 26, and she was 15, 16 when they started a relationship, and then I guess they broke up. Which is when in the first movie she goes, "Yeah, I was just a child. I didn't know what I was doing. It was wrong, and you knew it." And then he was like, "You knew exactly what you were doing," or something. And it's like, well, if she's 15, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote creepy on that every time.
Yeah,
I don't care if
think
the actress comes out and says it's not creepy.
I don't think any. Yeah, I was just like, I mean, I get what she's doing.
It was a different. The 70s. It was a different time. They should have known.
Yeah, they should have recalculated. Like, even 18 would have been way better. But
oh yeah, they couldn't have just bumped it up a bit. Yeah,
that should have happened. But anyways, aside from that, which, I mean, I'm sure they didn't intend that either, but at the same time, yeah. Aside from that, though, I think I liked, you know, how they wrapped it up in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Which I do remember what happens in the end, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
I've seen the movie.
You remember?
Yeah, she I
just didn't know if you remember everything.
Dies, and then they get married, I think.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't want to. You don't like when people spoil things, even if it's been a long time since you've seen it.
This movie's been out for 15 years.
Yes, I know, but you're like,
yeah,
well, we'll see if it's good, like the rest of it. So I don't know what you remember.
I don't know, but what if it's?
Have you seen it since you saw it in theaters?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's crazy.
I still remember so much. Like, this is a very vivid movie for me.
2008 was,
and I've only seen it once.
A loaded year for important films. Like, Iron Man came out. This movie came out. There's an important animated film. WALL-E came out, and then The Dark Knight came out.
I had to distract everybody from America at the time.
Yeah, and Steven Spielberg recently said in an interview, which I thought was cool, because I guess he's doing press for The Fabelmans. He said, if The Dark Knight came out today, it should win Best Picture. Well, he was really saying it should have won Best Picture back in 2008. It wasn't even nominated. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Steven Spielberg. He's made so many movies. It scares me.
Why?
It just, like, I don't know. I can't imagine making that many movies. It's crazy. He's made like over 50.
Why does that scare you?
I don't know. They're all amazing.
Yeah.
I just want to make one good movie. It scares me in a good way. It's just like, wow. I don't know. Like, it doesn't scare me. It's just like, wow. It's impressive. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
No, when I say scares, I mean like how, like, that's a lot of work he's done. That's like, it scares me how much work he's done.
Yeah.
I'd like to work with him. I hope he keeps making moves. I'd like to work with him one day. I think that's possible. He's not doing this next movie. He's got probably a couple more left in him. He's getting up there though. He's probably almost 82.
Really?
Yeah, he's up there for sure. But I guess that was the podcast. We talked about all three movies and a little bit more. Got sidetracked here and there. That was a pretty good episode, I'd say.
We're still recording.
I know.
I didn't know if you knew.
No, of course I knew. No, thanks for coming on the show, babe.
Thank you very much.
Do you think Austin Butler will win Best Actor? I can hear Nala at the door, by the way.
No, she's listening. She has like her ear to the door.
She's the first listener. But do you think Austin Butler will win the Oscar? 5,
I don't know. Do
4,
you?
3, I don't know. I don't care. He did a really great job, though.
All I can think of with him is how he's Vanessa Hudgens' ex.
Well,
they dated for like 10 years.
He's like a really good actor.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I heard what you said.
High School Musical.
Anyways,
Sampley's like, we're not going down that road.
No, we should watch all 3 of those movies and do a podcast. Or is there 4? No, there's just 3. They did a show.
Yeah, there's just 3 because it ends with them graduating high school.
Yeah, there's a funny SNL skit where when Zac Efron hosted, he plays Troy Bolton at the high school's like graduation ceremony.
Yeah.
He's like the guest of honor. He's like warning them, like, guys, it's not all sunshine and rainbows out there. No one else sings. This is a very unique place.
Yeah.
Like I have struggled in life. I started singing and dancing in college, and they beat me up. It's a funny little SNL skit.
Oh my word.
Good stuff. Oh, if you had to choose someone to be the next Indiana Jones, like they restart the movies, they restart the movie trilogy, who would you pick? An actor. I have the perfect answer.
Well, then when you've thought about this before, who is it?
Who would you pick off the top of your head? You'll agree with me.
I'm about to say Timothée Chalamet. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
I'm just joking.
That's who they would choose.
That is who they choose.
And it would drive me crazy. He's a good actor, but he's got to stop getting all the roles. It's upsetting me.
Yeah.
I know I don't have a chance at some of them, but I know there's some really, I don't know. I don't even want to get into that because good for him, but also at the same time, he's a Nepo baby.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Big time.
Yeah.
A lot of them are.
No, yeah, more than people think.
If you do research, you're just like, oh wow, good for them, I guess. I'm not hating. If they're talented, they're talented. But it's like, come on. That'd be funny though if he picked. That's like when they picked Tom Holland to be Nathan Drake. That was one of those. He's just getting everything now, isn't he? Him and Timothée Chalamet. They're both very talented. Don't get me wrong. What was I saying?
Who you picked to be the next Indiana Jones?
Oh, and it might be too late. Ryan Gosling would be the perfect choice if they decide to do it again. He's probably a little bit older now, but if they did it a couple years back, because a lot of people were saying that Chris Pratt was going to be the next one. I was like, no.
That's actually who I just thought of. Why? I thought of Chris Pratt.
He needs to stop being in everything too, and I like Chris Pratt.
I think he just looks more like Indiana Jones, like has that rough around the edges look.
No. Ryan Gosling. Number 2 pick, Jake Gyllenhaal. Number 3 pick.
I could see Jake Gyllenhaal over Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling would be number 1.
Well, Ryan Gosling's in everything too.
But no, he's not. He's been on like a break for 3 years, and then
for 3 years out of like.
He does what Christian Bale does, which I respect. He does a whole bunch of movies. 2 of them are great. 2 of them are good. One of them usually like so-so. And then they retire and spend time with their family and then make some more movies.
His older wife.
Ryan Gosling would be the best pick.
No, they're not even married.
Who?
Him and Eva Mendes.
I don't care. He's a great actor.
Okay.
In their own house.
Sampley loves Ryan Gosling.
Anyways.
Okay, well, I thought of Chris Pratt, so that's my answer. And I'm sorry that it's not your answer, too.
No. He would not be a good Indiana Jones.
Why?
He just wouldn't be. He doesn't have the range. Ryan Gosling has range. Lars and a Real Girl. Drive. Nice guys.
But has he been in like an action film? I think.
What? Yes.
What film?
He was just in The Gray Man with Chris Evans.
Okay, well, I haven't
double
seen
agent.
that. I guess I've just seen Chris Pratt looks more like Harrison Ford, which I know you shouldn't be thinking of.
No, he doesn't.
More than Ryan Gosling does.
No. Harrison Ford picked Ryan Gosling to replace him in Blade Runner 2049 as the main character.
Okay.
And they said, we already picked him. He said, oh, well, what was the point of asking me? It was a funny story they did on a talk show.
Oh.
Like they had already picked Ryan Gosling, and then they asked Harrison Ford who he would pick, and he said Ryan Gosling. because he said he matched him as an actor. That's just, you know what?
Well, I mean, it's not even up to us. So, they can pick
is.
whoever they want to pick. If it's Chris Pratt, or if it's Ryan Gosling, or if it's Jake Gyllenhaal. I could see Jake Gyllenhaal. Maybe, if he loses the beard.
Yeah, he's that beard. Yeah. I don't know, though. He's getting a little bit older, too.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't. They just don't need to mess with it. They just, after this last one, just be the end of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want to see Indiana Jones and...
Because to me, I would have trouble watching it because it just wouldn't be Indiana Jones. After 5 Indiana Jones movies, how are you supposed to just be like, let's continue,
Yeah, I really don't want to watch Indiana Jones and the missing adult diaper where he's in a nursing facility trying to... Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because Blade Runner, it was that one movie.
Yeah.
And then it was okay. But to have a whole trilogy and then have another one and then another one, you just can't replace that character, in my opinion.
No, yeah, you just got to stop.
So, you make a new one.
Disney doesn't care. They're like, man, money.
No, I know. It's just...
Did someone say Timothée Chalamet?
I know you would want to see it if it was Ryan Gosling, though.
I would, because he's a great actor.
Are you going to see him in that Barbie movie?
Most likely.
As long as it's appropriate.
It's a Barbie movie.
I know, but Margot Robbie is having some interesting roles these days.
She does.
I don't trust her.
I want to see Oppenheimer. That's my most anticipated.
Yeah, I want to see that one too.
I'm so excited to see that movie. Cillian Murphy is going to crush it.
Have I seen him in anything?
What? Yes.
What? No, I know what he looks like, but why can I not picture? Oh,
Batman
Inception.
Begins,
That's
the
right.
Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises. He plays Scarecrow.
Oh, he plays Scarecrow in those.
Yeah, he's great in Inception, though.
Maybe that's why I can't picture him in that one. No, I remember him in Inception. Yeah, no,
I
remember that now.
Oh, man, he's got that scene with his father who's laying in bed dying. But it's not really real.
Yeah.
But then he thinks his father actually cares about him, but in reality he didn't. But they were planting the memory. It's a great movie.
I struggle with actors' names.
That's okay. What's my name? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I don't know.
I'll take it. That's Erin's favorite place to eat. I don't know.
True.
Well,
because if I say what I want,
interesting but too long.
If I say what restaurant I want to eat at, that's bad English, but then you're always like, I'm not really in the mood for that, and then I go something else. I'm not really in the mood for that, so I just say I don't know because it's easier.
That is everything she said was a lie, and it is the other way around.
I'll admit if you name something and I'm not in the mood for it, I'm gonna be honest, but I'm just saying. I'm not gonna have something straight up because I just know. That's why we go through a list. We go through options.
Yes, we have a list.
We cross off options. We do have a list of places to try on our fridge.
No, I'm always down for anywhere, unless it's somewhere you suggest first. I'm like, I don't want that. No, I'm just teasing. You're the same way. We're both as bad.
Yeah, but we're both not. We're not that picky about food.
Why can't we just be like Nala and just eat kibble every night? She's so simple. Nala's our dog, by the way. I don't know if we've talked about Nala.
Have we?
I don't know.
What was the last podcast we did?
I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know.
Wait, it was Better Call Saul.
What is that?
Don't act like
Lindsay Lohan in that.
Lindsay Lohan, and don't act like you're not watching it again for the 15th time.
5th time. It helps.
Helps what?
It's a good show to watch while I'm writing. It's very inspiring. It gives me brain. It's brain. Like that TV show is like brain food. It's like salmon.
What?
If it were a food, it's like salmon. It's brain food.
Why?
If I wanted to watch like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, that's like junk food. You know what I mean? It's like a sugar rush.
But
like a pixie stick.
It's kind of a sad drama.
What is?
Better Call Saul.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. Like that make my brain sad.
I know. Energized. I mean, like writing, like it's like so like high level. Like everything is like on every area. Well, we're not supposed to be talking about Better Call Saul. This was the Indiana Jones fight. 1, 2, 3. I'm
not joining you. So did you just end that sentence? Like you're not gonna keep saying anything? You do need some help.